If the path before you is clear, you're probably on someone else's. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Where your fear is, there is your task. If a man knows more than others, he becomes lonely. Thinking is difficult. That's why most people judge. Even a happy life cannot be without a measure of darkness, and the word happy would lose its meaning if it were not balanced by sadness. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. You are what you do, not what you say you'll do. Knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darkness of other people. Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes. Loneliness does not come from having no people about one, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to oneself, or from holding certain views which others find inadmissible. The shoe that fits one person pinches another. There is no recipe for living that suits all cases. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. What did you do as a child that made the hours pass like minutes? Herein lies the key to your earthly pursuits. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls. Shame is a soul-eating emotion. Depression is like a woman in black. If she turns up, don't shoo her away. Invite her in, offer her a seat, treat her like a guest, and listen to what she wants to say. In each of us, there is another whom we do not know. Man needs difficulties. They are necessary for health. The soul needs your recklessness, not your wisdom. To ask the right question is already half the solution of a problem. You are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become. The greatest tragedy of the family is the unlived lives of the parents. The least of things with a meaning is worth more in life than the greatest of things without it. Wholeness is not achieved by cutting off a portion of one's being, but by integration of the contraries. Where wisdom reigns, there is no conflict between thinking and feeling. Every form of addiction is bad, no matter whether the narcotic is alcohol, morphine, or idealism. Midlife is the time to let go of an over-dominant ego and to contemplate the deeper significance of human existence. The healthy man does not torture others. Generally, it is the tortured who turn into torturers. A man who has not passed through the inferno of his passions has never overcome them. Children learn by an adult's example, not by their words. For better to come, good must stand aside. Life really does begin at 40. Up until then, you are just doing research. If you are a gifted person, it doesn't mean you got something. It means you can give something away. He who is afraid needs dependence as a weakened man needs support. Shrinking away from death is something unhealthy and abnormal, which robs the second half of life of its purpose. Where love rules, there is no will to power, and where power predominates, love is lacking. The one is the shadow of the other. The greatest and most important problems of life are all fundamentally insoluble. They can never be solved, but only outgrown. Man cannot stand a meaningless life. Man can endure the hardest trials if he sees meaning in them. The whole difficulty lies in creating that meaning. What we walk away from, shying away from, ostensibly forgetting, is dangerously close to us, and eventually it will return, but with redoubled force. We cannot change anything until we accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses. Woe to those who live by examples. There is no life in them. If you live by example, you live the life of that example. But who will live your life but yourself? So live your own life. People grow like plants, some in light, others in shade. There are many who need shade, not light. Knowledge rests not upon truth alone, but upon error also. Every human life contains a potential. If that potential is not fulfilled, then that life was wasted. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Don't hold on to anyone who's leaving, otherwise you won't meet the one who's coming. Don't rush to help those who haven't asked you to, because not everyone who is drowning needs a hand. Some want to drown. Most people consider themselves very knowledgeable in psychology for one simple reason. Psychology, for them, comes down to what they know about themselves. If an attractive woman is single, it's because she's smarter than everyone else. As any change must begin somewhere, it is the single individual who will undergo it and carry it through. We were born at a given moment, in a given place, and like vintage years of wine, we have the qualities of the year and of the season in which we are born. Show me a sane man, and I will cure him for you. I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. The creation of something new is not accomplished by the intellect, but by the play instinct. There is no coming to consciousness without pain. The pendulum of the mind oscillates between sense and nonsense, not between right and wrong. We should not pretend to understand the world only by the intellect. We apprehend it just as much by feeling. If you cannot understand why someone did something,
look at the consequences and infer the motivation. Often the hands will solve a mystery that the intellect has struggled with in vain. The word belief is a difficult thing for me. I don't believe. I must have a reason for a certain hypothesis. Your perception will become clear only when you can look into your soul. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Nobody can fall so low unless he has a great depth. If such a thing can happen to a man, it challenges his best and highest on the other side. Everything about other people that doesn't satisfy us helps us to better understand ourselves. Dreams are the guiding words of the soul. Mistakes are, after all, the foundations of truth, and if a man does not know what a thing is, it is at least an increase in knowledge if he knows what it is not. We may think that we fully control ourselves. However, a friend can easily tell us more about ourselves than we know.
Every man carries within him the eternal image of woman, not the image of this or that particular woman, but a definite feminine image. The psychological rule says that when an inner situation is not made conscious, it happens outside as fate. Space flights are merely an escape, a fleeing away from oneself, because it is easier to go to Mars or to the moon than it is to penetrate one's own being. Enlightenment is not imagining figures of light, but making the darkness conscious. Life begins with the acceptance of death. I have frequently seen people become neurotic when they content themselves with inadequate or wrong answers to the questions of life. Seldom, or perhaps never, does a marriage develop into an individual relationship smoothly and without crises. There is no coming to consciousness without pain. It all depends on how we look at things and not how they are in themselves. Follow that will and that way which experience confirms to be your own. The unconscious mind of man sees correctly even when conscious reason is blind and impotent. There can be no transforming of darkness into light and of apathy into movement without emotion. The capacity for directed thinking I call intellect. The capacity for passive or undirected thinking I call intellectual intuition or inspired thinking. A dream is a small hidden door in the deepest and most intimate sanctum of the soul. The meeting of two people is like the contact of two chemical elements. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens. The privilege of a lifetime is becoming who you truly are.
We cannot change anything unless we accept it. The shoe that fits one person pinches another. There is no universal recipe for living.